Nothing concentrates the mind on happy thoughts. Two psychologists report, like the prospect of being hanged. The authors seeded the mind with dozens of undergraduates with thoughts of their own mortality by asking them to contemplate their own death. Meanwhile, undergraduate subjects in a second group were asked to contemplate pain rather than death by imagining excruciating but non-fatal dental procedures. When the researchers asked both groups to play simple word games, they found that the mortality-haunted students tended to select cheerier words than the students who had been asked to meditate on having their teeth drilled. For instance, a death-haunted student would be more likely to turn the prompt J-O blank into the word joy rather than the word job. To the authors, the results suggest that the unconscious mind automatically copes with the prospect of death through a kind of psychological immune system, a built-in mechanism to isolate and neutralize the clinically induced memento mori. They note that the results defy the students' own intuitions. The subject didn't think that imagining their own untimely demise would remind them to always look on the brighter side of life. Some words for hangover, like ours, refer prosaically to the cause. The Egyptians say they are still drunk, the Japanese 2 days drunk, the Chinese drunk overnight, the Swedes get smacked from behind. But it is in languages that describe the effects rather than the cause that we begin to see poetic power. Salvadorians wake up made of rubber, the French with a wooden mouth or a hairache. The Germans and the Dutch say they have a tomcat, presumably whaling. The Poles reportedly experience a howling of the kittens. My favorites are the Danes, who get carpenters in the forehead. In keeping with the saying about the Eskimos' 9 words for snow, the Ukrainians have several words for hangover. And in keeping with the Jews' don't drink rule, Hebrew didn't even have 1 word until recently. Then the experts at the Academy of the Hebrew Language in Tel Aviv decided that such a term was needed, so they made up one, hamarmoret, derived from the word fermentation. There is a biochemical basis for Jewish abstinence. Many Jews, 50% in one estimate, carry a variant gene for alcohol dehydrogenase. Therefore, they, like East Asians, have a low tolerance for alcohol. Even the mild-mannered, gentle giants can't suppress their indignation when it comes to their neighboring Germans. The Dutch possess a deep aversion to all things German, especially the people. Such hostilities undoubtedly are attributed to the German invasion and subsequent occupation of the Netherlands during the Second World War. The total devastation of Rotterdam by the Germans in an attempt to stifle Dutch resistance invariably only exacerbated the Dutch resentment of the Germans. For centuries, leading up to the invasion, the Netherlands was immune from the atrocities of war, and the Dutch lived a relatively peaceful existence in their homeland. Even during World War I, the Dutch were somehow able to maintain their neutrality. The evils that World War II brought to the Dutch homeland are not forgotten to this day, and the perpetrators are not forgiven. Germans are even cognizant of this resentment and usually tread carefully when in the Netherlands. Even though the Dutch are fluent in German, the Germans will speak English to the Dutch because most of the Dutch citizens won't even acknowledge German speakers. Even German restaurants are absent on the Dutch homeland. Government money for the hungry is a small and ever-shifting stream, moved by political change. City funding disappears under sudden budget pressure. Federal poverty funds administered by FEMA are cut 19%, and a farm bill gets stuck in Congress with the result that government surplus food suddenly becomes less available. Keeping up with the veering of government support is a scramble. As for foundations, they are well-intentioned and generous, but subject to moods. Donor burnout is one of those. Fashions in charitable giving also come and go. Recently, foundation charity has been more focused on making a difference, an idea that works against the soup kitchen, which changes people from hungry to not, but invisibly. Also, foundation donors now like to talk about measurable outcomes. They expect recipients like the soup kitchen to single out the people who are helped and measure the improvement in those people's situations over time. Again, that's not something the soup kitchen, with the off-the-street population that it serves, can easily do. In addition to the violence and subjugation that the Dutch endured during World War II, they were deeply distraught over the fact that the Germans stole all their bicycles and used the parts and material to support the war effort. The pulse of Holland can be found on its bike paths. By taking all of the Dutch bicycles, the Germans crush a deeply cherished attribute of the Dutch culture. Even to this day, the Dutch convey their contempt for such thievery by demanding that the Germans give them back their bicycles. During football matches against German teams, Dutch fans hold up signs and sing chants stating that they want their bicycles back. Even when vacationing Germans ask the Dutch for directions, the usual response is, "I'll give you directions when you return my grandfather's bicycle." The New York City Coalition Against Hunger estimates that 1.3 million New Yorkers can't afford to buy food for themselves and their families all the time. That works out to about 1 person of every 6 in the city.